Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I am here. You know what? I decided that tomorrow I'm going to have a lot to do. And so I just wanted to do one last Goosebumps book review. And then I'll be starting my Betty Davis week, which that'll just be me. And then Safi and I will be reviewing various things until we finish X-Files, and then we decide on more weeks and stuff. This is why I kind of don't like not having new releases come out all the time, because we just do random things, and it's just like a scatterbrain type of schedule. So, anyways, I am here to review Goosebumps, Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. Now, first off, something funny happened when I read this book. The day that I read it, I had pancakes, which is a big thing in the book. As well, all the milk that we had was spoiled. And I read online that that's actually, or I think it was in the book, they said that spoiled milk is like a sign of bad things or something, and it was a sign of bad things actually, because there was this actress in Indiana named Megan, and I should have taken a hint because she had a nose ring and red colored hair. I should have taken the hint that she's a mentally deranged SJW, and after I read this book that same day, she blocked me on all platforms for no reason whatsoever. Didn't ever explain why, and I believe that she just saw my channel and got upset and triggered. And so I guess, these actors, this is the problem with actors, is that they're so shallow and they're so one-dimensional that this kind of stuff can happen. And so she was supposed to be like the small one-scene role, and then she blocked me. And so I guess that the spoiled milk was a sign of that. And honestly, I guess it's a good thing, because I really don't like people like her who, that it just, block you for no reason, don't even tell you why, and they can't handle anyone having different opinions than what they have. And I really don't like those types of people. So I was really actually kind of happy that she blocked me, I guess, because it let me know that she's really not a good person. She exposed herself. And in this book, Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, I really actually kind of liked the story. I always thought it was a creepy story as a kid. They used to have this Goosebumps website where all it was these small little clips from the show. And it was interesting to me because as a kid, I never got to see the show until my mom bought a bootleg of all the episodes on DVD as a present for getting a good grade on a test. But that took a while. And for a while, all I had were a couple of VHS tapes, which were like the Halloween specials, two-parters, and this website where it was clips from the show, miscellaneous little 10-second clips. And one of them, the one that was really scary to me, was the one from Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, where basically they're showing the windows on the doors. They show the shadows of the scarecrows coming up to them and shaking the doorknobs and knocking everywhere all over the walls. And I thought, this is really creepy. Like, this episode looks like it would be scary. Like, it reminded me of Night of the Living Dead. It looked actually genuinely scary. And when I finally watched the episode, I was surprised to find out that the episode, that was literally like the only hint of scariness in the whole episode. The rest of the episode was light, goofy, weird. It wasn't really scary at all. except for that one little part. So that was sad. I mean, it was really sad. I thought this could have been the scariest episode, the scariest book. And when I read the book finally years later, I was even more disappointed because I thought that the book was dull and boring. I mean, there's nothing scary about this book whatsoever. In fact, the little scary stuff is the stuff that's inserted into the episode. So I would actually say the episode is much better than the book. And I know a lot of people like this book. I hated it. I thought it was so boring and dull. I had a hard time getting through this book. And basically the plot, too. The plot was very disappointing because it's literally, I gotta say this, too, because I've never heard someone mention this before, even though it is accurate. It is 100% accurate. This book is a ripoff of Monster Blood to a T. And I know that you guys might call me out on that because I just read Monster Blood books. Before I read this one, I'm reviewing them in the order that I read them. But I am serious. The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight is almost a carbon copy of like the premise, sort of the twist. It was really shocking because the twist in the Monster Blood book, they didn't do that twist in the episode. It was basically this twist where it turned out that the aunt was being controlled by this witch. She was scared of her, and the witch threatened her with the monster blood and all this stuff. There's some cat thing. I can't remember. She's a cat. And then at the end of I can't remember. Sorry, there's just so much stuff to remember. But basically, she was controlling her, and she made the aunt deaf because of she broke a rule or something. And, really evil behavior from this crazy witch woman. Well, in Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, what is the book all about? Well, it's about these two kids who go to their relative's house. Same thing that happens in Monster Blood. It's a boy and a girl. They are related, but still two characters, boy, girl. And then there is a son named Styx, but he's not really in the book that much. Still, he could represent like the bullies in a way, because they think that he's bad, and then it turns out he's not. They think that he's pranking them. But it turns out that the twist is that there's this guy named Stanley, and he is intimidating the grandparents and forcing them to do everything his way. Now, here's where the story gets weak. The story is very weak sauce. It is very lame. That's another issue with a recurring issue with a lot of his books, is that he doesn't really take things that far. He takes things to this very, it's like you're taking swimming lessons and you refuse to go near the deep end. You'll only stay at the shallow end. You know what I mean? When you did that in swimming lessons, and you're forced to just stay there at this really shallow part that really is like boring to swim around. And that's what it's like with this book, because what do the grandparents have to do for this Stanley guy? And also, Stanley is mentally handicapped, which I did think that was an interesting element to add to a character in a Goosebumps book, but it really wasn't done well. But the things they had to do were, they could not cook pancakes, special pancakes that they always cook, apparently, and they're like a specialty. Not allowed to cook those. They have to eat cereal, and they are not allowed to tell scary stories at night. Those are the only things that they have to do. The only things. I mean, guys, would you really be scared of someone if that's all they wanted you to do? Like, there is a Twilight Zone episode called It's a Good Life. And in the episode, it's all about this kid who can read people's minds. And he has wiped everyone off the face of the earth except for his family and a couple other neighbors here and there. And the scary thing is that he reads people's minds. And he can create life, he can destroy life. And so people have to live in fear because they can't even think against him. They can't think about anything that he doesn't approve of. They can't like things that he doesn't like. Like, it's really creepy, intense, suspenseful, weird, insane. This situation is like preschool in comparison. I mean, so what? They have to have cereal and they have to not tell scary stories. I mean, who cares? What an insignificant little thing. On top of that, we never really see the potentials that these scarecrows have in terms of danger. And that's something that I thought that the clip on the website hinted at, was them trying to break into their house. Why were they trying to break into their house? We never really got to see if these scarecrows could hurt people, if they could hurt things. Like, maybe he could have had it where, I don't know, like maybe there's a bird that was dead. Scarecrow took a bird, grabbed a bird out of the air, and then ate it or something. I don't know. Something to hint that these scarecrows can do damage, that they are something to be afraid of. Because honestly, they were not scary in the book. Really, in the book, R.L. Stine resorted to a trope that he uses with the bad guys over and over and over again if they're supernatural beings. He's done this with the Mummy. He does this with other characters where he says there's a dragging along on the ground, a very scary, like a I don't know if you guys can hear that, like a dragging noise across the ground. And so with the Mummy, it was the bandages dragging across the ground. And so with the scarecrows, it's the clothes dragging across the ground. And it's really not scary. Like, the scarecrows don't even really do anything scary in this book except for, like, jump out at people a couple of times. So I really did not like the ripping off of Monster Blood. I thought that was lazy. I thought that was stupid. You know, you could have come up with so many different ideas, reasons. Personally, I would say, here's a classic one. The grandparents are having bad luck. They're farmers. They don't have good crops. They're having, like interstellar type of bad luck. And then you have the Stanley guy who's like a local witch, and they make a deal with him, and of course that's still kind of similar because he'd be a witch, but it would be different because in this book it's like he's forcing his will upon them, but then, like, what if it was actually a deal? What if it was for the benefit of their crops? That would be so much better. And in the last act, there is a little cool part that I got interested, because I gotta be honest, I was so bored reading this. Like, I was falling asleep, but near the end I actually got interested, and there was a little fun part where they tried to play a trick on Styx to see if he was the Scarecrow, and he wasn't. And then a Scarecrow actually comes out. I thought that was pretty cool, they were trying to scare him, and then a Scarecrow actually comes out at them. But then again, that's kind of like, you can't scare me. So that's another. Of course, I can't remember if this came before or after, in terms of the series order when they released. I don't know, but that's sort of similar to that. But it was entertaining. And then finally, the Scarecrows are fully on attack for some reason. I can't remember why. It's just so random and boring, though. Like, the Scarecrows are coming after them all, and Stanley all of a sudden is like, okay, never mind. I don't really want to hurt you guys or something. Like, it's really off, this last part. So Stanley gets a torch and he lights them all on fire. All the scarecrows, he lights them on fire. I thought that was pretty cool, actually. That was, like, really fun. A fun little, like, because that seemed like it was pushing the boundary a little bit, you know. With all these supernatural creatures, it feels like R.L. Stine, he knows that he has the ability to break the rules and kill them, hurt them as much as possible. You know, he can't ever set kids on fire, but he can set scarecrows on fire, is what I'm saying. And I don't want the kids to get set on fire. I want more boundary pushing. I want more danger. I want more scares. I want more horror. Because this book was basically a boring vacation type of story where they're bored at the farm and there's a couple of things here and there, but nothing really happens. I give this book a D+. And then, to top that off, the fact that the ending came out of nowhere, where Stanley suddenly decides to stop being mean to them. On top of that, he then reverses his decision for a stupid twist, where he is reading out of the book and they don't know what chapter he's reading, and so he's gonna F them up again and try to intimidate them again, bring something else to life. And it's like, oh, wait a second, you just destroyed, like, I guess you had plot progress the whole book, but then at the twist, you destroyed that progress by having Stanley read from the book again. So I thought that was stupid. But it's too bad. This could be a really, really good book. It could be, like, this has the potential, even more than Monster Blood. Like, this, the story potential for this, I'm thinking like a Jeepers Creepers meets Night of the Living Dead type of thing. Like, this could be really good, but as it is, it's just really dull and boring. But if you really, really want to read this book, then go ahead and read it. But I would suggest just watching the episode, which is not very good either, but it's still better than this. I give this book a D+. I can't give it a C. It's not average. It's below average. And it's got some issues. But it does have some entertaining moments. And another problem I didn't mention, which I mentioned in other videos that this is a consistent problem in the series, is that the kids, the main characters, they're very dull and boring. In fact, I will say that to the episode's advantage. In the TV episode, the kids are actually more interesting. So the actors in the show, how they're presented on the show, they're actually a lot more interesting than the characters from this book. In this book, the characters are yet again more dull, boring, cardboard cutouts. I mean, how many times are we going to have these same old characters? You have a brother and a sister, and they're really mean to each other, and they're 12 years old, or one of them's older. How many times are we just going to have the same old characters? And then the relatives, too. Like, these relatives are boring. You have these grandparents, and they don't really have much character at all. The only character in this book who really has somewhat of a character is Stanley. And that's really not enough for me. So anyways, please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought, because some people actually really like this book, and that's fine with me. Everyone has their own opinions. I just like discussing my own opinions on video for some reason. And then please subscribe if you'd like to see more Goosebumps book reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.